officially T minus 20 something hours before day one, Friday of the Arnold Expo, which I guess, crap, this video's on a couple day delay, I think. So by the time this one gets posted, it's gonna be the day after. I can't remember exactly. Either way, 3 days of fucking, I don't know if I'd say a lifter's paradise, but certainly close. Fucking every freak under the sun coming out of the woodworks all in one place. Can't help but smile thinking about it. But until then, I'm not going to stop the grind eating nuts. So this is a cardio trip. It is a little bit later in the day than I would like. I kind of, let's just say I maximize sleep. And then in a more honest way, I slept in until like 1 o'clock. But either way, very well rested. So 30 minutes of cardio followed by arms later this evening should do me fucking well. So I don't know if I need to get into a whole cardio shtick like I did last time. Obviously you should be doing it. It's good for you. But whatever. We all get the gist there. Oh my goodness. So I guess this may be late, because if this video is on a delay, then it's kind of past. But I'll be there all 3 days. All 3 freaking days. I got to go for 1 day last year. I think it was a Saturday or something. So, man, it was freaking cool. What else is there to discuss? Bulk going strong. Well, actually, not as strong as I would like. I was like 259 this morning. But I'm pretty sure the scale I have at my house is off. I still need to... Somebody was telling me I've got to get an industrial scale. Like one of the ones where it's like a big-ass metal pad. And then the readout is on like a little red LED indicator instead of just a fucking like on the scale itself. Because you gotta think, how many scale companies do you think are out there making the number artificially lower so you feel better about yourself when you use their product? I wouldn't put it past them. I would not put that past somebody. So if you want an accurate reading, probably going to be in your best interest to get a semi-accurate scale. I wouldn't be too paranoid about it, but definitely something that could be worth considering. So, let me see, what else was I about to say? Oh yeah, so in terms of tracking your weight, there's only one time to do it. All you do is hop on the scale at like 9 o'clock at night after they've already lifted. They've drank a fucking ton of water. They've eaten all the food that they eat during the day. They're wearing a full set of clothes and their shoes, and they've got their phone in their pocket. Do you really think that's going to be an accurate fucking, portrayal of your body weight? No, not even fucking close. And for one, of course, you're wearing all this extra shit, not what you'd call body weight. And then for two, you've got the amount of food and water that you've eaten throughout the day too. My body weight can change fucking drastically from morning to evening. I can wake up at 255 and go to bed at 263 if I was a little bit dehydrated in the morning and then completely full belly in the evening. So anybody who you catch weighing themselves at random times during the day, and you're just not giving yourself accurate readings, man. It's almost like that number. I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything, but with the fact that your weight is already going to fluctuate day by day in general, and then you add extra variabilities to it, it just doesn't make sense, man. Your weight is right in the morning, you go to the bathroom, clear out your system, and then hop straight on the scale, no clothes. That's what I consider your weight. So if you're all giddy that you hopped on the scale at your gym and you weighed 201, but you're wearing a fucking pair of like heavy boots, thick sweatpants, and a hoodie, and your phone's in your pocket, guess what, man? You've still got a ways to go. You've still got some mass to gain. Right? And that's not as a rip. I remember I always get excited when I hit a new number on the scale. But you've got to be able to kind of understand the situation that's giving you that number. So, really, the point I'm trying to say there is if you're in a dieting phase or a bulking phase, and day by day you're bouncing up and down 3 pounds or so. 3 might be a little bit extreme. Like on a consistent basis, I definitely bounce around like 2 pounds around whatever my weight is. So if you're looking at it from a day by day context, don't get too upset if one day you're fucking light and one day you're fucking heavy. What you're really looking for is that like overarching trend. If you zoom in, of course it's going to be super fucking jagged, but if you kind of back up, right, widen the scale, and you can see that you're consistently gaining weight, bulking context, very good. Dieting context, you're totally fucked. But that's sort of what I'm trying to say there. Your weight's going to bounce around all sorts of fucking factors. Just how fed you are, how many carbs you've got in your system, your sodium intake, your water intake. It's all just fucking whatever. But the more consistent you can be with the foods that you eat, the amount of water that you drink, and the times that you go to sleep, it will kind of level off that variability and make your weight fluctuations a little bit more concise. Because even though I'm kind of like, I get the fact that my weight's going to bounce around, I am kind of subject to the fucking like fallacy of waking up light, where if I wake up at like 2:55 for whatever reason, maybe I didn't eat a lot of food one day, and I wake up extra light, I kind of feel like I have to, really get that weight back up. Like I kind of feel like a need to, get some more food down. And then on days where I'm extra heavy, it may make me a little bit more complacent with my calories. So really, I've got to be a bit more zen in my approach. Just make sure I get my 5,000 whatever in on a daily basis, and don't worry too much about the day-by-day fluctuations. But let's fast forward 30 minutes of the seated bike. Do a little unpumped pose down. A day 124. Kind of just a torso check-in. I don't have shorts, and I'm definitely not going to pose in the underwear that I'm wearing. So we'll just get kind of a look at how we're looking unpumped. And then tomorrow, we should be able to see the, wait, is it, yes? These videos are all like fucking out of order. I can't even remember. But compare this to the next video, which is going to be arms. And maybe be able to see a difference between arms unpumped in the morning versus fully pumped up later. So I will see you presumably in the yoga room. Is that about right? So don't be fooled. That was not actually 30 minutes of cardio. That was 30 minutes of me just playing around on my fucking phone, sitting down and moving my legs a little bit. If you can somehow look at it like that instead of 30 minutes of grueling cardio, it's really nothing. So, frankly, unless you have a serious scheduling issue and gym twice a day is just fucking impossible, I've got no idea why you're not doing cardio. No earthly freaking idea. But let's see how we're looking unpumped. Oh. All right, one more. Oh. I'm ready to go home and take a fucking nap. Oh. But certainly certainly not the most exhausting thing I've ever done in the gym. I mean, sure, I'm a little sweaty, I'm a little out of breath, but It's not like I'm doing sprints. You know, it's not like I'm doing fucking 400s and throwing up in between each one. Just a little seated bike. You know, maybe I should fucking... Every time I do a little video about the cardio trips, maybe I shouldn't label it cardio. Maybe I should label it hardest workout known to man. Nobody can do this workout on a consistent basis. Nobody goes to the gym and does this. Oh my God, make it seem like a Tom Platz squat workout kind of thing. I would love a legitimate survey. I would love a legitimate, lie detector test sanctioned survey of lifters on how often, honestly, how often they skip cardio isn't even a good question. Because if you never do it in the first place, are you really skipping it? You know, you're not skipping school if you dropped out. You just don't do it. So I think really what I want to know is who does their cardio and on what basis? Second question, who actually does leg days on a consistent basis? Third question, who tracks their macros? People don't really care so much about the macros. They definitely should, though. You are just fucking missing out. You know, if geesh, yeah, man, you can't put the wrong. Okay, well, that doesn't necessarily sound very good coming from me because I'm eating all sorts of junk. But yeah, it's silly. If you're not getting in a consistent amount of fuel, how are you going to expect to have solid fucking workouts? You know, you're not like a fucking diesel engine in the sense that your fuel tank isn't going to dictate your power output, right? You're more like a fucking Tesla. You know, when a Tesla has a fully charged battery, right, that's when it can really do a fucking launch. I forget what Mr. Musk calls that thing, but when it's full, when it's completely charged, that's when it can actually fucking launch hard. And as it gets less and less charged, it's not going to be able to do that so much. So, in that same sense, relating it to your fucking body as a lifter, right? If you kind of want to perform, and in a bulking context, you definitely do, then you need a fucking ton of fuel in your system, not only just to run on and exert yourself with, but also to be able to, recover and actually pack on some contractile tissue. We can just sit here forever. I'd love it. There we go. Yeah, so in a bulking context, oof, at least for most lifters, calories are your fucking friend, and you need more of them in your fucking system. Now, there is a limit. There is a limit to that. Because as much as everyone complains about how difficult it is to get food down, there are still people who really have fucking no difficulty just chowing down fucking anything they put in front of them. So if you're bulking into the range of let's say you started the bulk at maybe 10, 12-ish% body fat, like reasonably lean, you've got abs, you got veins when you got a pump, and then you're seriously fucking pushing 20%, 25%, I would go so far as to say you're bulking in excess, which I know is insane coming from me. But if I were putting on a fucking ton of body fat right now, that's going to be a little signal to me to say, okay, you're eating too many calories. You're eating too many calories too quick. You got to back off, ramp it up slower over time. So if you can tell that, sure, you gained fucking 20 pounds in 2 months, but 15 of those pounds are fucking fat, maybe do a little bit of a reevaluation of your approach. Just because if you bulk too hard, this is the primary argument against bulking and cutting, is if you bulk too hard, then you're giving yourself a real fucking problem to deal with. Because sure, you may have gained 50 pounds of weight, but sure, but I don't know, how many pounds of that weight is actually just fucking fat? So if you bulk for a fucking straight up year and legit out of shape compared to your 12% body fat starting position, then you're going to have to deal with that. And in the process of dieting down, being in a steep calorie deficit for that long, you're probably going to cut into some muscle tissue for sure. So that's sort of why I like bulking as much as I can within a reasonable amount of body fat. Of course, I've got more body fat on my frame now than I did when I started, but it's not more than I can handle. So when I start dieting down, in a fucking time period of only like 4 to 6 weeks, I'm going to be substantially leaner. And part of that is because, and this is sort of me arguing against, or maybe not against main gaining, but arguing for the benefits of bulking and cutting down, is I think the reason why it gets a lot of flack is the fact that it does have what you'd kind of immediately notice as drawbacks, right? When you bulk up, you do have a bit more body fat in your frame, and then you actually have to diet down pretty strictly to lose that body fat. If you've got a real hard time on the dieting down phase, then bulking and cutting may not be for you, because you're not going to have it easy when it comes time to stop eating ice cream sandwiches and start eating egg white omelets with low-fat cheese and chopped up spinach. So if you can't really flip that switch, then if you've got a lot of fucking body fat on you, you're gonna have a rough time peeling it off. So that's one reason why I kind of like the bulk and cutting method. Is because for me, I don't have too much issue flipping the switch from eating a fucking ton of treats, well, not even just treats, but being full all the time, really being full of food. Honestly, I can eat as much as I want. But that's sort of counteracted by the fact that once I start dieting down, I can actually lock into a deficit without too much issue. And part of the reason for that is, for one thing, I do want to get leaner. That's my primary goal during the dieting phase. So I don't mind dealing with some extra hunger or the challenge of it. But also, I'm just kind of spoiled because for me, I think I'm naturally right in the middle of the, let's just say, the continuum of guys with a high appetite and a low appetite. Dudes who are just more heavy set, for the most part, they have a higher appetite. Their baseline level of fullness, like if they've got food in front of them, for them to eat enough to be full, they're eating a fucking lot of food. And then some dudes, super low appetite, guys who are just walking around diced without even working out, they just don't have much of an appetite. They're like, they have a couple bites of something, put it down. And of course, there's other factors, but do not complain. This is what I would call a misplaced blame, is don't blame having a slow or fast metabolism. There is something to that, because of course, if you're a really active dude, you lift weights near daily, you do your cardio, you walk around, you're just reasonably active, you're going to have a higher, what's the word I'm thinking of here? You're going to have a higher caloric output for the day, right? Throughout the course of the whole day, you've literally just burned more energy than the guy who just sat around all day next to you. So in that sense, he will have a higher metabolism because he has to eat as many calories as he burned through to stay the same weight. Your body wants to stay where it's at. Doesn't necessarily want to starve down. That's why you sort of get this hunger effect where like, oh shit, I gotta eat something. And it doesn't want to get too big either because your body's like, oh dude, you're full of food. Stop eating, So if you're a little bit more active, then that will certainly help you there. But to just blame an arbitrary, like, oh, my metabolism is this, I mean, it's just not where it's at, man. But not too dissimilar. If you do have a naturally high appetite, then it may as well seem like you have a really slow metabolism. In that sense, you just kind of have to suck it up and fucking play the cards you got dealt. Some guys have no problem bulking up. They've got no problem putting down a nasty amount of food daily and just fucking packing on muscle. And then some guys have absolutely no problem, like, not starving themselves, but being in a real, maybe not too steep, but staying in a a calorie deficit, and then just staying lean year round. That's just kind of the natural order of things. So take a look at wherever you are and how food relates to your particular hankering for it, and you're just going to have to deal. If you have an easier time bulking up, you're probably going to have a harder time cutting down. And if you have an easy time cutting down, you may have a harder time bulking up. It's just sort of fucking nature of it. So, like I said, I think I'm a little spoiled being right in the middle. I don't have too much trouble on either case. But lucky me. So, plan now, go home, eat some kind of something, take a nap, finish that gallon jug of electrolyte mix, and then lift. So I'll see you next time for that.